got to finish this text. We're on. We are live.
Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Mindful Movement. It happens every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. And the premise behind this class is to show you how to move your body safely and to pick up some moves that your body likes so you can incorporate these moves into a morning routine. So listen carefully to the cues. It's all about the cues and it's all about form. And we're going to start standing up at a wall. So if you can find a wall with not many obstructions in your house, which can be a challenge, let's do this. So we're going to start at the ankles and work our way up. If you have low back pain, you could have a problem with your ankles being restricted that shoots that dysfunction all the way up to your back. So let's start here. And what I want you to do is I want you to come up to a wall. And I want you to get about an arm's length away from the wall. So place your hands on the wall at shoulder height, all right? And right out in front of your shoulders. Now, I want you to take your right foot and step your toes up a couple inches from the wall. And we're going to see how your ankle moves in what we call dorsiflexion. So we're going to lean into the wall. But we're going to do this with purpose. So your foot is a couple inches from the wall. If you have really good, the better your ankle movement is, the farther your foot will be away from the wall. But let's start at the beginning stage. Your toes could even be at the wall. So what I want you to think about first is pressing that right foot into the floor. Press it into the floor like you're pressing the gas on the pedal of your car and you're getting ready to come off that ramp and go into the highway. And you got to hit that gas. I want you to push that foot into the wall. And I want you to think of having two guardrails running along each side of your knee, kind of like a bicycle rack, like you've got your knee as a bicycle tire that you're putting right into that rack. So guide that knee through that rack while you push your foot into the floor and take your knee to the wall and then come back. So you're starting with your arms straight. You're going to allow your elbows to bend as you push your foot into the floor, push it into the floor, guide your ankle through those guide rails. We're actually guiding it through our ankle bones, but we're going to use our knee as our guide. So once again, that right foot pushes into the floor. You're almost pulling back on it a little, and you're going to engage your glute when you do this. You're bending your knee, and you're guiding that knee to the wall. Let's do that one more time. Push the foot down into the floor. Take that knee as if it were a bicycle tire. You're putting it in that little guardrail, and you're pushing it to the wall. So if you want to play around with this, just back your foot up a little. Now push your foot down and see if you can get your knee to the wall. So this is how you perfectly fit this move to yourself. Let's switch feet. So we're about an arm's length away from the wall, feet and hands. We're going to take our foot up to the wall. And we're going to push our foot down into the floor and guide our knees straight into the wall, straight over those toes, and come back. So you can play around with this. Can you go a little farther away from the wall? Go ahead and push your foot into the floor, push it into the floor. Guide your knee to the wall. So that's probably about as far away from the wall as I can be this morning. Some days I can get farther, some days I have to be closer. Our body changes on us. Push your foot into the floor. Guide your knee over your toes to the wall. All right, that is a great move to get your ankles going. If you live in a 2-story house and your bedroom's upstairs, do that before you go down the stairs. But then you can kind of push back away from the wall, and you're leaning on the wall at this point, all right? So as you're leaning on the wall, you can come up on your toes. But as you come up on your toes, I want you to push your toes down into the floor and then drop down to your heels. So start this move by pushing your toes into the floor, lifting up the heels. You're working all the muscles on the bottom of your foot. I call this the arch support move. So push your toes down, lift your heels up, lift them up, lift them up, lift them up. And since we're back away here, we will get a little bit of a stretch for our calves. So you're going to drop your hips a little forward so you're in a plank position. And from here, bend your right knee, then bend your left knee, and bend your right knee, and bend your left knee, and bend your right knee, and bend your left knee. All right, we're going to do little ballerina moves here. So we are going to come closer to the wall as we lift our heels this time. So this is going to build our calves, but it's not going to yank on our calves. All right. It's going to give us some elongation there. And it's also going to help all those muscles in the bottom of our feet. So this time we're at the wall, and just put your hands comfortably on the wall. Why you're putting your hands on the wall this time is I do not want you leaning in the wall for these. I want you to think of the top of your head going straight up to the ceiling, okay? Like you've got a string pulling you up to the ceiling. But we're going to be working our feet and ankles. So go ahead and push your toes down into the floor. I'm going to step a little bit farther away from the wall. Push your toes down into the floor and lift your heels up. So you're up on your toes, but you're pushing your toes down. You're working those toes and come down. So toes push down, heels lift up. Go up and down. Be very mindful that you're pushing your toes down as you lift your heels. We have to work all the muscles through our toes, all the muscles through our arch. Very important. The more you can go barefoot, the better off you're going to be because you're working those joints in the feet. There are 26 joints in the feet. So now we're going to turn our feet out, keep our heels where they are, and we're going to be working the muscles up this side of our calf and in our feet. So go ahead and push your toes down again, lift your heels. Push your toes down, lift your heels. Remember, the top of your head is going straight to the ceiling. That's why you have your hands on the wall, so you can monitor if you're leaning into the wall. So push your toes down, lift your heels. Push your toes down, lift your heels. Let's do that one more time. Push the toes down, lift the heels. All right, we have one more position for the inside of the leg. So you're going to take your heels, put them back to normal, turn your toes in. All right, so don't turn them in so much you're feeling torque in your knees. Just turn them in a little just to see where your body can go. But you're going to push your toes down and lift your heels. You got that? Push the toes down, lift the top of the head and the heels to the ceiling. So push the toes down. And if you'll notice, I'm not pushing myself into the wall. I'm coming as straight up as I can. And we're building that strength through our feet. And as we age, we lose that. As people age, they tend to go to really heavy, clunky shoes. They can't even feel the earth anymore. They've lost all the proprioception in their feet. Stay in tune with the earth. Keep as barefoot as long as you can. Okay, so we're going to do a version now of the cat-cow. That's going to be really good if you have problems with either your kneeling on your knees or your wrists. And so I thought, while we're at the wall, let's just do it this way. So we're going to step back away from the wall again. And we're going to kind of go into kind of a plank. So you're at an angle right here. And I want you to lift your chin up and push your hips back away from you and reach up with your look. gaze up, and then come up, and you can drop the hips through. So what we're doing here is we're looking up as we push our hips back. So this would be the cow version of the cat-cow. And if you notice, my lower back is arching and my neck is arching. That is so important. We have to keep our neck moving in the same curve as our low back. They are intricately related. So if you're going back like this, you want to be looking up. So come back up, let your hips just go back into that plank. We're getting that nice stretch in our heels. And go back, push your hips back, gaze up to the ceiling, reach up through those hands, get a nice little stretch there. Even doing it this way, you even get that better stretch through the back of your legs, but we're also getting that movement through our spine. And our spine has been laying in one place all night. And we've got to move those fluids around. Okay, so now let's come back up, shake out your arms a little bit if you want. We're going to do the cat version. So when you do the cat version, you're rounding your back. You want your neck to round. So we'll be looking down at the floor. So bring your arms about shoulder height. And I want you to push your hips back, and I want you to round over, like you're going to round over and pick something up off the floor, but you still have your hands on the wall. And round, you're looking down now, and then come back up to standing. And go ahead and push your hips back, pull your navel into your spine. You're pulling that navel to the wall behind you, and you're rounding over. But you still got a little balance and you've got your hands on the wall. So you're getting a nice stretch through the back of your shoulders. And come up. So go ahead and look down towards the floor. Send your hips back away from you. Pull your navel into your spine. Round that upper back. Round it, round it, round it. And come up. Let's do that one more time. It feels so good. Round it, round it, round it. Round, round, round. And come up. So that is a great version of cat-cow. That's a way to move your spine, get the back of your shoulders, get some blood flow if you have problems with your wrists or your knees. Otherwise, you can do the cat-cow, which if you don't know what the cat-cow is, I am going to show you right now. So come down to your hands and knees and place your hands right under your shoulders. We're in what we call tabletop position. So we've got to have nice straight table legs. So your knees are right under your hips, your hands are right under your shoulders, and we're going to round our back to the ceiling and bring our chin to our chest. That is your cat stretch. And then we can go ahead and flatten our feet out if you want, or you can keep your toes curled. But I want you to lift your chin. And as you lift your chin, remember our neck is going to be curving the same way as our low back. Be very mindful of that when you pick something up off the floor. If you are just rounding over, make sure you're looking down. If you're going to squat down to pick something up, make sure you're looking up. All right, that's going to keep your low back and your neck happy. A lot of times people will have a dysfunction in their low back, but they have chronic neck pain. The pain's not real, the problem's not really in their neck. It's because their low back isn't cooperating. So keep that in mind. So we're going to go down to the floor. We're going to sit long ways on our mat. So if you don't have your mat handy, I hope you do, but I'll give you a sec to find your mat. What we're going to do is we're going to just do some circles from our hips. So we got our ankles all loosened up. We've got our spine loosened up. Now we're going to go to the middle and work on the hips. So just have a seat on the floor. Just circle around. Let the shoulders and the head just go along for the ride. You can go whatever it feels good. And let's reverse that circle. So you're folding at the hip crease here. You should feel a little bit of lengthening through the back of the hips. And just let this feel good. Let the shoulders roll, roll, roll. And speaking of the shoulders, let's go ahead and sit up and squeeze our shoulders up to our ears. So often we find ourselves in this position, not paying any attention, but let's intentionally do it today. Squeeze your shoulders up to your ears and then push them down. So think of your shoulder blades pushing down into your back pockets. You have back pockets. And squeeze your shoulders. Give them a squeeze. Really contract those muscles. Squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. But let's make them long now by pushing our shoulders down, pushing our shoulder blades. Think of how your shoulder blades are moving on your back body. Push them down and squeeze it up, squeeze it up, squeeze it up. And push, 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 push it down. Awesome. Let's give it a little roll. Go ahead and roll your shoulders back. And then roll them forward. You might hear some crunches. Bodies tend to talk to us a little bit more as we age. That's okay, as long as you keep it moving and it's pain-free, don't worry about it. Okay, so we're gonna have a seat on the floor here with our knees. I want you to take your left leg and I want you to have it right in front of you, your knees at the edge of the mat here. This leg is parallel to the edge of the mat. Your right leg is going to be bent behind you, but your knees are going to be pretty even and lined up, okay? We're going to take our left hand, we're going to place it behind us like a kickstand. From here, I want you to push up to your knees. So we're stretching through this hip flexor, right? But I don't want you just to like lean to stretch into it. We're going to be mindful of where our body is placed. What I want you to do to get this stretch here is to squeeze right here on your back body. Squeeze on your glute. Squeeze. That's going to open this up. Now, we're leaning on this arm, right? But I don't want you to be crunched down into it. I want your head and neck to come away from it. So you're pushing up right here out of that kickstand, okay? So you're squeezing here, you're pushing up here. So you've got a nice, strong base. Now take your arm up in the air. So you've got a big wingspan here between your arms. So you're like a star, okay? Now I want you to do a rainbow. So let's pretend, let's have a little fun. Let's pretend like we've got all the colors of a rainbow shooting out of our fingertips. And we're going to take it over and back. Let's make some rainbows for this perfect day we're going to have today. Over and back and over and back, and feel that shoulder just gliding through this movement. Now let's just create a circle. So you can create a circle and pretend like you're shooting stars out of your fingers if you want. Just circle around, circle around, circle around. Now we always want to go the opposite direction, so circle back, all the while you're squeezing that back body to push that hip forward. You're coming up out of that left shoulder. You're not leaning down on it. And now let's take it down. Okay, once we're down, we're going to take both our hands and we're going to rotate our torso. So the rotation, I don't want you to think of it starting at your shoulders. I want you to think of it coming from your rib cage. So take your rib cage and turn it towards your left leg. So once you're there, I want you to place your hands on the floor. Now walk your hands out as far as you're comfortable on the floor. Feel a nice stretch through the body. Once we're here, I want you to take your elbows down to the floor. So now we've got this stretch going. So straighten your arms. Take your elbows down. Straighten and lower. Straighten and lower. Now we're going to add some hip openers to this. So I want you to stay in this position, but we're going to work that back right leg. So here what we're going to do for a little external rotation of the hip is we're going to keep in this position, but I want you to lift the knee up off the ground. The foot stays on the ground and take it back down. You're not going to go far. This is a great test to see how external rotation is working in your right hip. So you lift the knee and lower it down. Foot stays on the floor. Lift the knee and lower it down. And monitor this because I can almost guarantee it might be a little different on the other side. Lift the knee and lower it down. Let's do that one more time. Lift the knee and lower it down. So now we're going to look at what's happening with internal rotation at that right hip. So you're going to keep your knee down, but I want you to lift your foot and lower it down. Lift your foot and lower it down. So this movement is actually happening right here in this joint. The knee is going along for the ride. You're lifting your foot off the floor and you're lowering it down. So you're lubing up this hip joint. You're keeping it healthy. And lift and lower. All righty, you ready to switch to the other side? Let's engage the core a little bit. Go ahead and give me some genie arms here. And I want you to just switch your feet around. So if you can do it without using your hands, you're going to be using your core. So we're back in our position. I'm going to scoot back a little. We want our knees lined up at the edge of our mat. This time your right leg is in front, your right knee is in front, your left leg is in back. And we're going to push up. We're going to take our right hand. And remember, you're pushing that right hand into the floor. You're bringing your neck tall away from your shoulder. You're not going to end up like this when you're in that position, okay? So bring it up. Keep that neck tall away from the shoulder. You're squeezing the back body here. Squeeze this glute and open this hip up. So if this squeezes, this opens. Bring your arm up in the air. We're going to make our rainbows. Remember, we've got all those colors coming out of our fingers. And we're going to go back and forth. Back. And you can move your head. You can follow your hand if you want. See all those beautiful rainbow colors coming out of your fingers. Go back and forth. And remember, we're squeezing that back body to open up that hip. This move gets about every muscle in our body going. All right, let's pretend like we've got shooting stars, because we are, coming out of our fingertips. So circle it, circle it, circle it. I got a little too close to the wall this morning, but I'm making do. Let's circle back. Circle, circle. Circle. Give me one more circle. All right. I'm going to slide down just a little. Okay, so we're going to remember, we're going to move our torso, but we're going to move it. We're going to move it with our rib cage, not our shoulders. So the shoulders follow along. So sit up tall in this position. Turn your ribs. Your left ribs are going towards your right knee. And then place your hands on the floor, walk them out where you're comfortable, and we're going to bend our elbows and drop them to the floor, and we're going to lift it up. And we're dropping down, and we're going to lift it up, and drop it down, and lift it up. Let's do that one more time. Drop it down, and lift it up. All right. So let's go ahead and take our elbows down here, and we're going to work on that hip rotation. So let's start out with a little external hip rotation. So you're going to keep your left foot on the floor, and what I want you to do is lift your left knee up off the floor. So the action is happening right in here in your hip. So take it down and lift it up, and take it down and lift it up. Now, this is not going to be a move where you're going to get your knee very high off of the floor, but the more you do it, the higher it will get. So lift it up and lower it down. This side's a little more difficult for me. Lift it up and lower it down. Let's do that one more time. Lift it up and lower it down. So you might find one side is more challenging one way and the other side is more challenging the other. I encourage you to work those challenging moves to get your hips back in alignment and keep them even. So now we're going to take our left foot and lift it off the ground. So knee stays down, foot comes up. Knee stays down, foot comes up. Keep that knee down, lift the foot. Lift the foot. One more time, lift the foot. Good job. Come on up. And let's come up to our seated position. And let's just put our legs, bend your knees, put your feet out in front of you. We'll do a little more rotation in those hips in a less challenging way. So just drop your knees to the left. Let that right hip just roll up off the floor and drop them back to the right. These are called windshield wipers. Drop them over and back and over and back and over and back. Okay, we're going to do one more last move. This might be a little challenging for some people that knees are not very happy, but do it if you can. If it is painful, I don't want you doing it. But we're going to come up to our knees. And we've got our toes curled behind us. We'll ultimately be reaching back for our heels. But what I want you to do is just open your heart. So you're going to open your chest up. You're going to lean back and reach for your heels and then come back up. So you can make this grand gesture of opening your heart, reaching back for your heel and coming back up. And you can exhale as you reach back and inhale as you come up. Exhale as you reach back and inhale as you come up. Let's do that one more time. Exhale as you reach back and inhale as you come up. All righty, I think we've got your body going from ankles to shoulders, actually to our head. Pick out any of these moves that you find that feel really good for you, or maybe a little challenging and you want to make it feel really good for you. Don't let any of these moves cause you extreme pain. They might be a little uncomfortable, but if there is extreme pain in this move is not for you. So be mindful and join me next Wednesday. Thank you.
Yay,
Thanks,
Chris,
Chris.
that was amazing. I'm going to do a special email blast because that's something that needs to be done like 2-3 times a week.
Oh,
Phenomenal. Thank you.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you joined too. Do you feel good?
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey, I still need to get your card for your promoter thing.
I'll send
So
it.
shoot that to me sometime today.
Mommy, did you move?
Yes.
Hey, good morning,
Hey,
Hattie.
Bye.
it's really helping me.
Oh, I am so happy. And I hope that you're picking out moves that feel good and you're doing them every day. You know, pick out the ones that you know how,
Yes.
you know, the ones you need. They might not feel the best, but you know you need it, you know?
Mommy, you missed the
Mhm.
first 15 minutes. She did a lot of standing up and it helped a lot. So I'll send you the video so you can watch what you missed. 'Cause
You're cutting out, Tina. I don't know if it's me or you, but I can't hear you.
Did you hear me, Mommy? Did you hear me? Can you hear me, Chris? Can you hear me, Chris?
I can hear you now, but I couldn't hear you when you were talking to your mom. It's cutting out.
I said I was telling her that the first 15
Now you're cutting out again.
Oh, not cool. I was saying she missed the first 15 minutes and it was really good.
It's cutting out.
I didn't miss it. I just didn't have my camera on.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Good job. Good job. All right. See you guys later.